high-functioning anxiety isn't actually considered a mental health diagnosis. Instead, it's a term many people can relate to when they have anxiety and can still carry out everyday tasks at a functional level. It could be the valedictorian in your class, your coworker who has an exceptionally polished resume, or it might even be you. It's no surprise that this has become widely relevant when roughly 40 million adults struggle with anxiety. When someone tells you you're fine, or always has a smile plastered on their face, they might actually need your help. Here are 10 signs of high-functioning anxiety. 1. You're an overachiever. Do you consider yourself a perfectionist, type A, and a planner? People with anxiety always feel like they need control in order to feel at ease. Whether it means making big to-do lists, showing up at a meeting early, or staying up late studying for a test they already memorized by heart, the individual stays busy in order to feel productive. One research study shows that it's only when you feel in control that you can deal with stress. 2. No is rarely used in your vocabulary. Getting things done becomes more important than your health. If you sacrifice eating meals on time or cancel plans with friends to do someone else a favor, you might have high-functioning anxiety. You'd rather suck it up and get the work done instead of saying no, fearing that it might pile up otherwise. You may also be afraid to reject others, afraid that you'll hurt them, so you bite the bullet and you hurt yourself instead. 3. What is sleep? Apparently never enough for people with anxiety. How can it be when you're constantly tossing and turning in bed, consumed by your worries? Anxiety doesn't need a reason to keep you up. You have everything checked off your to-do list and still worry about a million other things. 4. You crack cynical jokes for fun. Are you sarcastic or make jokes about dying? Chances are you aren't as happy as you seem when you tell the punchline. If you're laughing and putting on a show when you're actually suffering, this is anxiety. It forces you to entertain and mask your intensities behind your witty combat. Remember, you don't have to put up a front. Lower your guard and tell people what's going on. 5. Negative self-talk is common. And it's so common that you don't even consider it negative, just your usual way of thinking. People with anxiety are the hardest on themselves. They can stand in front of the mirror and pick out flaws at a snap of a finger, or beat themselves up if they make one minor mistake. They don't give themselves a break, always seeking to be a better worker, student, citizen. The list goes on. 6. Your coworkers consider you a mystery. You might be the helpful, reliable worker everyone loves, so it's no surprise that you'll get asked to go out once it's time to clock out. But you'll usually decline, remaining an enigma. Other people will find it hard to read you, not because you want to seem cold or detached, but letting loose and socializing without preparing ahead of time actually terrifies you. 7. You're easily startled. It's normal to get jumpy during a horror movie, but are you startled even during the slightest disturbance? Afraid that others might find you spineless, therapist Anne Wright says you may resort to unhealthy habits, such as drinking, drugs, or endless social media scrolling as a distraction. 8. Bad days are normal for you. Excessive ruminating, panic attacks, and an inability to relax have all become ingrained in your daily routines, that good days become once in a blue moon. But instead of outwardly complaining or calling up a friend to talk about it, you might just bottle it up. Since it happens every week, you worry that others will find you annoying or a burden. 9. You constantly seek validation. Anxiety makes rationality hard to achieve. That's why the individual often seeks logic from others. They fear their judgment isn't enough, so they rely on the support and guidance of friends, family, and coworkers. They don't mean to lean on people 24/7, but it significantly quiets down their loud thoughts. On the flip side, however, some may worry about being a burden, so they choose to suffer silently instead of reaching out to others. 10. You're afraid of letting people down. You don't know how to break the news to your loved ones if you're not happy with your so-called dream career or don't want the same things as them. You often succumb to other people's expectations, working hard to be a role model. And no matter how tired you are of being you, your anxiety will push you to continue performing, as if your whole life counts on it. Did you enjoy this video? Jaden Animations also covers her own personal struggles with anxiety. We think her content holds value and will be helpful for you. Be sure to check out her videos and show some love. Thanks for watching!
Do you think you might have anxiety or know someone who does? If not, what's the first image you have when you imagine someone with diagnosed anxiety? The popular comical image may have popped into your head with the frazzled, jittery expression, unkempt hair, and profuse sweating. The truth is, there are some people who go on to be successful and accomplish great things in spite of their battle against this mental illness. This is known as high-functioning anxiety. High-functioning anxiety isn't a diagnosable condition, and so it can be difficult to identify because those who have it don't appear anxious. However, the calm appearance doesn't make it any less real, serious, or painful for those who have it. Wondering now if you might fit in with this category? Here are 12 things you may not realize you're doing because of your high-functioning anxiety. 1. You turn down things you actually want to go to. You eagerly await events and get-togethers with friends, but when the day finally comes, you often decide not to go at the very last minute. Sound familiar? Even though you were looking forward to it for so long, you've talked yourself out of attending because the thought of going out leaves you racked with worry and dread. 2. You dislike having to meet new people. When someone says to you, there'll be so many new people you can network with, how do you really feel? Mingling at social functions just isn't your thing. Not due to shyness or introversion, you just don't want to meet new people. Sticking to your close-knit group of friends is comfortable and happy for you. Introducing yourself or being introduced to someone else makes you feel self-conscious and worried about making a good first impression. This worry is so intense that it sucks any enjoyment or intrigue out of meeting someone new. 3. You're uncomfortable with slow responses. The moment you send someone a text or leave them a voice message, do you start counting the seconds, waiting for a response? And the longer you wait, the more you feel anxious. You overthink about why they haven't replied yet and somehow take it to mean that you did something wrong. Take a breath. They probably like you just fine, and their phone might be on mute. 4. You get very little sleep. We hear 8 hours of sleep is required. Can you remember the last time you got 8 hours of sleep? We mean all at once, not spread out over a few days. You may be able to look at anxiety as the reason. It may wake you up early and keep you from having a deep and relaxed sleep, and also keep you up at night with thoughts racing through your mind. Being shortchanged on both ends is why sleep deprivation is such a common complaint amongst those of us who suffer from high-functioning anxiety. 5. You fixate on the tiniest details. Is there any little thing you think about that's keeping you up at night and depriving you of sleep? Like how you said you too to the waiter when they told you to enjoy your meal? Or maybe why that person replied to your long text with simply, "K." Logically, you realize this isn't going to hugely impact your life. The waiter won't remember you, and that other person was probably just busy. Still, you examine it. This fixation is a common feature for people with high-functioning anxiety. You tend to obsess over trivial things, especially social interactions. You analyze everything and spend hours and hours wondering what it could all mean and why. 6. You get hung up on old conversations. Speaking of social interactions, do you find yourself playing back old social scenarios in your head, thinking about different actions you could have taken or not taken? Things like, maybe I shouldn't have texted him, or maybe I should have given that witty reply. High-functioning anxiety makes you overthink every single social interaction you've ever had, big or small. And it's not unusual for people who struggle with it to get hung up on the past, regardless of how long ago it was. 7. You're unforgiving to yourself. Do you feel extra upset at yourself when you make a mistake, mulling over it and scolding yourself for months, even years? Well, high-functioning anxiety can often resemble perfectionism, with one of its most problematic characteristics being that it turns us against ourselves whenever we mess up. Your anxiety makes that mistake bigger in your point of view than it was in reality, so getting over it feels difficult. 8. You constantly compare yourself to others. It's normal to occasionally compare yourself to others, but those with high-functioning anxiety take it to an extreme. Are you overly concerned with how you measure up against your peers? Do you constantly worry that you're not fulfilling your full potential? No matter how much you accomplish, do you never feel like it's enough? If so, you might be struggling with high-functioning anxiety. 9. You're a constant people pleaser. Do you work hard to make others feel happy, even if it comes at the cost of your own well-being? Do you feel like you'll never be good enough until you attain everyone's approval? If you have high-functioning anxiety, you may have convinced yourself that the only way others will ever accept you is if you go above and beyond what everyone expects of you all the time. 10. You need to keep yourself busy all the time. No, we're not talking about creating great Renaissance artworks or intricate business plans. We just mean busy, not necessarily productive. If you're not busy, you feel restless and tense, so you try to occupy yourself with just about anything. Doing your nails? Yes. Alphabetizing your games? Okay. Cleaning your perfectly working computer fan with a toothbrush? Sure. The truth is, you don't mind doing anything as long as it helps distract yourself from your thoughts and worries. 11. You get very anxious whenever you think about the future. What does the future mean to you? For many, the future is the light of possibility, something to eagerly look forward to. And for some, it can feel like Scrooge in that last spirit of Christmas who looked like the Grim Reaper. If you're not feeling hope, but terror and dread for what's to come, this could be a sign of high-functioning anxiety. Anxiety can paralyze you with fear about the unknown and what's not in your control. It can keep you from truly living your life to the fullest because you always expect the worst to happen. And 12, you always focus on the worst case scenario. Do you like to prep? By prep, we mean, do you say to yourself, okay, so this is the worst possible outcome. I'll be ready for it. If I'm ready for it, I can handle anything else. Do you then continue to expect the worst case scenario? That might be high-functioning anxiety laying the plans. This might lead people to misjudge you as a pessimist because ultimately you may try to share with them your preparations. Where you see anticipating and being proactive, they see a downer. Unfortunately, being so prepared often doesn't allow you to just enjoy the moment. Do you relate to any of the things listed here? Living with high-functioning anxiety is never easy, but most people may not see the emotional toll it can have on a person. If you're starting to feel overwhelmed with your anxiety, there are many professional certified resources to reach out to. Please like, share, and subscribe to Psych2Go for more psychology content. We hope to see you in the next video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.